Hi boys and girls, it's Mrs. Hunter picking up with our next installment of Little Shaq. The last time we read, Little Shaq and Barry were playing in a basketball game, and Barry was upset because Little Shaq didn't pass him the ball. So now we're going to pick up from there. Little Shaq and Barry ran inside and changed their clothes before heading to the family room. Rosa had already snuggled onto the sofa with her book. "Let's name our team the O'Neill Tigers," said Little Shaq. Little Shaq and Barry had the same last name, so the first part was easy, but they didn't always agree on the mascot. Little Shaq liked cats and Barry liked birds. "But Barry is player one, so he gets to pick the name," said Rosa. "Besides, you were the Tigers 2 games ago." Rosa was the smartest girl in Little Shaq's class. She had a great memory. Sometimes Little Shaq just wished she didn't remember everything. "Tigers are the coolest, Rosa," Little Shaq replied. "They are the kings of the jungle." "That's lions," Barry laughed. Barry typed O'Neill Falcons onto the screen and pressed play. Their team started out with the ball. Barry's player dribbled down the court, but the defense came on strong. "Watch out," Little Shaq shouted as a player reached in and stole the ball, taking it back the other way. "You gotta protect the ball, Barry," he said. "I know," Barry replied. "Here, watch me," Little Shaq said as his player grabbed the ball from Barry's after a rebound. Little Shaq turned his players back to the defense and moved him down the court. "I did that before," Barry said. "And I can do lots of things that you can't." "Oh yeah?" said Little Shaq. "Well, I bet you can't do this." Little Shaq gripped his controller tight and hit 2 buttons at once. His player soared across the court, high into the air, and reached for the net. With another push of a button, Little Shaq spun his player around and jammed the ball through the basket. "Slam dunk," Little Shaq shouted. "Forget it," Barry yelled. "I don't want to play anymore." "I was just trying to win," Little Shaq said. "Let's start another game." "It's no fun watching you play," Barry said. "You never let me shoot." Barry threw his controller down hard. It bounced off a toy truck and smashed right into the game console. Barry looked up at Little Shaq, his eyes wide. Little Shaq pulled the game out of the machine. "Look what you did," Little Shaq said. Little Shaq yelled. "You broke it." "Who broke what?" Little Shaq's dad said, coming into the room. Barry and Little Shaq both started to talk at once. "Rosa, can you tell me what happened?" Dad asked. "Sure," she said. "Barry maybe accidentally broke the video game." "See?" Little Shaq shouted. "But," Rosa went on, "it was kind of Little Shaq's fault too." "Ha!" Barry said. Okay, said Dad. "Rosa, why don't you go fetch Malia and Tater for dinner?" Dad sat down between Little Shaq and Barry and put his arms around their shoulders. Little Shaq closed his eyes tight. He hated fighting. Whenever he fought with his older sister Malia, she always won. And fighting with both his younger brother, Tater, was even worse. But fighting with Barry was the worst of all. Little Shaq breathed in Dad's woodsy scent and felt a little better. "It was my favorite game," Little Shaq said in a quiet voice. "Barry should have to buy me a new one." "But it seems like you were both at fault, son," Dad said. "You don't think so?" Little Shaq thought about the game at the rec center. Suddenly he remembered Barry calling for the ball on the court, and he thought about the slam dunk from the video game. And Little Shaq's tummy sank for the second time that day. Barry was right. Little Shaq never let him shoot. Little Shaq turned to his cousin. "I'm sorry for hogging the ball," he said. "It's okay," Barry replied. "I'm sorry for breaking the game." Dad patted them both on the back. But what about the video game? Little Shaq asked. It's still broken. Well, said Dad, if you boys want a new game, you'll have to work together to earn it. Little Shaq looked over at Barry. He didn't know how they were going to do that. Okay, that's the end of chapter 1. Our next chapter is called The Game Plan.